Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Distant Discussions podcast. And I'm with my girlfriend.
Catherine.
And today we're just going to be going through our introductions of ourselves and, talking about a bunch of things. And we got a lot to get through. So, to start off, my name's Sebastian. I'm 22. I played soccer growing up and I was actually a professional Rocket League player. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's just a video game. I made it my career for a few years throughout high school and a little bit outside of high school, and now I'm just in college, just doing my own thing.
My name is Catherine. I'm also 22 and I'm still in college right now. I, you know, like to read, have hobbies. I also have a job. I used to work with kids, Boys and Girls Club. I love kids, but yeah, nothing too interesting about me, honestly, except for my name and age and my secret job that I have right now. And I also want to start doing YouTube. So, hey, maybe that can become a job eventually.
What are you doing on your YouTube?
I have like 3 videos up, and 2 of them are from like 4 years ago, but the one I did, I wanna do like beauty related stuff,
Hmm.
and Sebastian knows how much I love true crime, so I wanna do true crime videos so bad, like makeup and true crime. Sebastian's not a fan.
I'm not.
Like, I wanted to do a true crime podcast, but obviously I think that's like a girl thing. I've seen so many
I
like
feel
memes
like it
that girls.
is.
Yeah, like I will literally watch true crime while I do my makeup, like
Yeah.
every morning. Like true
Mm,
crime videos.
I've just never been into that kind of stuff. I don't like watching it, but for whatever reason, Catherine just absolutely loves what. Honestly, I can't. I just can't. I don't know. I've just never been a
I
big fan of
know.
it.
Maybe I just grew up around it a lot because my mom loves it. Well, we don't love the crime, obviously, but it's like interesting to see how people think. Like, why are you doing that? Like, I don't know. It's just an interesting way to look at the psychology behind it, I guess.
Well, I think that's weird because my mom and my grandma love watching that stuff. My grandma wanted a career in that, so it's like I've been around it. I just never been a big fan of it. I'm more into
I
comedy and
know.
stuff like that, so that's why
Mm.
like the
Yeah,
complete
I think,
opposite.
yeah, like I'll watch American Horror Stories, which is kind of, if you guys have watched it, it's not super scary, I don't think, but Sebastian will not do anything horror related. So him and I are currently watching Everybody Hates Chris,
Hmm.
which we just watch a ton of comedies. So, I mean, I love comedies. I love The Office. Modern Family is good too.
Hmm.
So we just stick to like Disney movies, or like Marvel movies and what w- like comedy,
I
comedy
mean,
shows.
pretty much.
Oh, should we talk about the guilty pleasure shows we watch?
Yeah,
The
I mean, we
Love
do get into
Island.
it. We
Love
definitely get
Island.
into those. We
You
definitely
know
get
what?
into
It's
those.
so funny because I watched Love Island by myself, and I mean, I was into it, but like it wasn't like super like it was like obviously they have tea on there, like drama for the show,
Hmm.
but I never was like freaking out about it, like, oh my gosh, I need to watch the next episode until Sebastian and I started watching it together. Sebastian's like, he would like text me, like, are we gonna watch the next episode today? He loves Love Island,
I
but
don't
he
know.
will
I
never
just
admit
love the
it.
drama. No, I'll admit it.
It's
I'll admit it. It's just I love the drama. It's just so funny to me seeing everyone just fight for each other's love. I think that's just the
I
funniest
know.
concept. But
And then
no,
we have what other show are we watching? The Love at First Flight.
yeah, the love at first flight.
Y- Yeah, that one's like from 2019 though, but it's good too.
It's not as good as Love Island. To be honest.
I know. Talking about Love Island, we should talk about how we met.
Well, I mean, you can start off.
Okay. So, quick backstory. So Sebastian and I met when we were 13 years old. Um, we went to a Catholic, like private high school. So in order to get in, they make you take this high school placement test just
Mhm.
to see, I guess, what classes you're gonna be placed in. I don't really know. I don't really remember, to be honest. But Sebastian, we'll get into this later, but he's always been smaller than the rest of the people his age. So I was taking my high school placement test, And I remember somebody like walking in like super late,
That was
and I
me.
turned around and Sebastian walks in, and I was like, "Who is this 4th grader? He looks like he must be so smart." He looked like a 4th grader, like, he was so small, and he just looked very young, and I remember just wondering, like, this like, he must be a genius because why is a 4th grader coming into high school? And then the
No.
girl sitting next to me also thought he was super young, so that's how we first met each other.
I
Well, we
mean,
didn't even
we
meet.
didn't meet. Yeah, you didn't really know who I was. We didn't actually meet until we are
Mm.
actually in high school, because these placement tests were what, before summer school started. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. So like, she just saw me. I didn't even know she existed yet, because I was in the
He
back.
just Yeah, he just made an impression because of how young he looked, so I will never forget that because I was like, "Wow, this kid is a genius." But little did I know he's older than me.
I don't know.
But
I've
yeah,
always just
so
been on the younger side. I mean, you can see it right now.
I mean, yeah, like, we're both 22, but I feel like I get mistaken for being a slightly younger, but I think you get mistaken for being way younger.
Yeah, I mean, I've been called out for being around 16, 17. And so,
I
I mean, I'm
know.
used to it though, so it doesn't really affect me.
Yeah, but, like, that's what's so memorable about him, the fact that he looks, like, way younger.
Hmm.
So that's when I first remember seeing him. And then after that, we became friends our freshman year of high school, like, towards the end. And, I've always been way more talkative. Like, I've always just been out there. I would, like, approach everyone. And Sebastian is very quiet. Like, and it's not that he's I mean, I guess you're shy, but, like, I feel like he's just selective with the people that he talks to.
Pretty much.
So, yeah, like, that's kind of how he was throughout high school, but I felt bad for him because I just assumed he didn't have any friends, but
I
that wasn't
hated
really the
that.
case.
I
He
hated
just
that.
he just didn't wanna be at that high school. So I came up to him trying to be nice, being my peppy self, and then I approached him, and we kinda just became friends, and I at the end of well, how did we become friends freshman year?
I mean, you kind of started talking to me and my friends out of nowhere. So I had a group of friends that we hung out in like this little area right outside the building before you get into your classes. And all I remember from that moment was Catherine just came up to us and she
Oh my
started
gosh.
talking to one of my friends. Um, and then out of nowhere, she started talking to me a little bit, and we kind of just met right there. And all I remember at the end of the conversation was she asked for my Instagram, and that was it. So we started becoming friends from there.
Yeah, but I didn't wanna be weird, so, the way I approached it was like, "Hey, I'm" well, I asked for his Instagram, and
Yeah,
then I approached him and I was like, "Hey, I'm asking everyone for their phone number so we can text over the summer."
I remember
And then
that.
he, like, gave me his phone number, and then we kinda just became friends from there, and then, we pretty much remained friends for most of high school. Sophomore year, this man here ghosted me, kinda just
Was it sophomore
he
year?
ghosted yeah, it was sophomore. He ghosted me, and it's so funny because our school had 300 kids. How are you gonna ghost me? I literally saw him every single day.
Honestly, I think we had less kids in our school than that. I'm
Yeah, and it
pretty,
was
because
so
what, we
small,
only
and
had what, 40 people in our class in total.
yeah, and well, I think we had, like, more freshman year. It was, like, close to
Yeah,
100.
but a lot of people left after.
Yeah, but it was definitely not 40. I think it was, like, 80. Eh,
Nah, I don't believe that.
I don't know, but, yeah, so he, like, tried ghosting me sophomore year, and I went off on him because
Look,
like, he was
I
being
didn't
so rude
try
to me.
ghosting her. I didn't try ghosting her. It kind of just happened. Look, at the time, I was playing a lot of video games, and honestly, I'll be honest with you guys, I wasn't in the caring mood for any type of relationships, whether that be a friendship or anything like that. So I was really focused on just playing video games. Like I was a straight gamer. Like I'll be honest. So I don't know. It wasn't on purpose. Now it wasn't, there was no ill intent behind it. And just to let you in on like a little secret, I was easily influenced back then. I will admit that.
He was very easily influenced by other people's opinions about me,
Yeah,
which we're in high school. Everyone has opinions about everyone.
that is true.
But, sorry about that, I was fixing the volume. But,
Hmm.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, so he basically tried ghosting me or did ghost me.
Yeah.
And we kind of just stopped talking for like a year. And then I was, like I said, super talkative. And I do like to think that I'm really nice. And I kind of like I do forgive people. Like obviously you don't forget things, but I do forgive people, and I'm all about second chances. So we kind of just became friends again because I was constantly trying to help him with his schoolwork because I saw that he was like kind of falling behind. So I
That
would
was
try to
the
help
worst
him.
idea.
Yeah, like I
Because you
would
didn't
try to
even
help
help.
him.
You didn't help
Oh,
because she would give me the homework, but I would just never do the homework. I just did not care about school whatsoever. It was like
yeah, and we're
that
the
was not
complete
fun.
opposites because I got honor roll like every single year just because I mean I cared about school enough to like do my homework. I wasn't like obsessed with getting a 4.0, but like I always try to do all my assignments and stuff. And I would send Sebastian sometimes because I knew he was busy or something. I would send him the answers to homework assignments, and he literally wouldn't even do them. I was like, dude, you had the answers, and he still wouldn't do them. And I would get so angry because I was like, that is laziness. Laziness.
It wasn't
That was
laziness. I just, I had other stuff going on at the time, like playing
a
video
lot of
games.
high school kids, yeah, don't really care about school. But, so anyway, explain how we went from being friends to you ghosting me to us being friends again to dating.
I mean, we started becoming friends around senior year
Senior
again.
year, yeah.
Yeah, it was like
Well, no, we were friends again junior year, but we weren't like super close up until senior year.
the way Catherine and I became friends again was kind of weird because I was dating some girl at the time, and
Mhm.
you know, I found out from Catherine actually that she was unfaithful, and after that, me and Catherine kind of just started bonding again, which is weird looking back at it, but it was still great because at the end of the day, I think me and Catherine have good chemistry, and we've always kind of just you know flowed in anything kind of talked about. Because I'm more on the quiet
Yeah.
side, and Catherine likes to talk a lot, so um, going off
Yeah,
from
like
there. Go ahead.
oh, sorry. But I was gonna say, nope, nobody knows that I was the one that told him that. Because, in high school, everyone likes to like, start drama. So he never said any of that. But Um, it was actually me and my friends at the time, and originally I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to interfere, but I remember my friends being like, "That is so messed up, like you have to say something about it." So I did, but I also made it clear that I wasn't sure. I was like, "I don't know." Like I think I tried to like word it in a way that wasn't too hurtful to you, right?
I think looking back at it, I think I didn't believe you at first.
He didn't, and
No,
I mean, I didn't really originally, I didn't wanna tell him because I don't like interfering in situations like that, so I was like, "Okay." But I just told him what I saw. I didn't necessarily say, "She cheated on you," remember? I
yeah.
was like, "Oh, like, I just saw something sus," basically is
Oh,
what
I
I
remember
said.
now.
Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh, okay." But you kinda did believe it though because of the situation prior to this whole
It's true.
date thing. But anyway, enough about that situation.
I know. Yeah. Moving forward, um,
Yeah.
at this point, if I remember, I actually started my pro career as a gamer because I actually made it. And looking back at it, it wasn't the second semester of our senior year. It was actually the first semester because I
Mhm.
actually dropped
Oh,
out of
yeah.
high school to move to Texas to play full time, and I was supposed to finish school over there. Yeah, so I would come back during the second semester like two or three times to go see Catherine, and from there we kind of just had this. I don't know, like I wouldn't even know what you would call it because we kind of connected a lot, but we weren't ready to date either.
So I was not ready. I wasn't allowed to date until I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated high school at 17, and at the time, my parents had already told me that I was moving to Arkansas. So I even like I wasn't, like, too into, like, guys at the time, like, I was, but I wasn't looking to date anyone too seriously or anything because I was 17, and I also didn't wanna be, like, attached to someone when I moved because I was like, "Okay, like, long distance is not for me." It's kind of ironic now, but I was like, "I'm not gonna be doing that." And then Sebastian, I knew he had feelings for me,
How?
and, w I didn't know at first because 'cause I'm absolutely
Okay.
clueless, and you know this, like, I do not assume people have feelings for me up until they straight up tell me.
Exactly.
But my best friend at the time, she was like, "I think he likes you." But then Sebastian was trying to convince me that he liked somebody else, so I didn't really care, like, I wasn't too, like to me, it's like we're friends and that's it, like, I didn't think too much into it. And then, yeah, but my best friend kept telling me, like, "I think he's into you," and I think he told her one time, and then she started acting really weird and trying to, like, get me to date him because she thought, like, the way we acted around each other and the way we treated each other would be, like, the perfect relationship, but I so we can talk about this too, but Sebastian is 3 inches shorter than me. So at the time, like, everyone is there's, like, a ton of stereotypes about this kinda stuff. So everyone was, like, you know, very opinionated. It's high school, so I was like, "Oh, no, I don't wanna date him. He's way shorter than me." I just didn't I wasn't into the idea, so I didn't really wanna believe it up until Sebastian told me he liked me. And we kind of, like I guess we were talking, like, 2018, like, after high school, we were, like, I guess
Right.
talking, but I'm I feel like I probably didn't take it super seriously, and that's kinda where I messed up. And Sebastian, you can share your side of that, how you
Huh.
took that situation.
Yeah, because I remember as high school was ending and I knew she was moving to Arkansas, she, she was bummed out because she actually really liked where she was at the time and she wanted to be with her friends. And, we kind of really started connecting, especially when I got like really comfortable living in Texas and stuff like that. And we started, talking more and more seriously from my perspective. Um, so after high school was done, and she moved over there, Catherine, we pretty much started talking in more of a dating way, but we didn't have a title or anything. We kind of just like kept talking to see where things would go, and I took it extremely seriously because I was even, flirting with the thought of moving over there at that time. You know, I'm only 17, but I was making good money to be able to eventually move over there relatively soon. And the funny thing is, Catherine was on board with it at first, so I thought she was taking it as seriously as I was. But a couple months down the line, I, there was a lot of things that happened, and I think Catherine started getting kind of scared of the thought of me doing that, and so she started pushing away and kind of, you know, not taking things as seriously, and it became a lot harder to deal with as time went on, and eventually, like it would be one of those things where we would get on the phone, but we wouldn't really talk about anything serious. It'd kind of just be as like strictly friends.
Yeah, like, my input on that, like, I was like you said, we were 17 at the time.
Hmm.
We hadn't even turned 18, so keep in mind I wasn't even allowed to date at the time. And I think I was in a weird position where I kinda just wanted a friend, and I know that sounds really, like, messed up, but I was in a whole new place. I didn't know anyone, and Sebastian would fly out here to visit me.
Hmm.
So I was like, "Oh, like, he's my friend," but obviously Sebastian wanted more. Like, he wanted to be dating me, and, at the time, I was like, "Oh, that sounds great," but then in my head, I'm like, "I'm also 17. I'm young. Like, what if I meet someone here? Like, I don't wanna break his heart." Like, there's a lot going through my head at the time because I was so young. I was like, "Okay, like, I kinda need to explore the possibilities of, like, who I could meet and stuff."
Hmm.
And that sounds so messed up, but I guess as a 17-year-old, you think about it differently. You're scared to settle down. And to me, it's like, well, at least personally for me, that's how I
I'm
was.
not mad at you or anything, or like I just think it's funny because a lot of people that are going to college get this like sudden urge to be like, I gotta experience everything, I gotta do all these things. But
Yeah,
for me,
well,
look, I'll give a quick perspective of mine.
oh, sorry. Can I finish? I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
No, like I'm saying, like I didn't want to do anything crazy. No, I just wanted. I'm like, what if I meet a nice guy that we'll go into this later, but that shares my beliefs? Because Sebastian and I had very different religious views
mm,
at the time. And there was like several reasons as to why we weren't dating. And like I said, he's a short king. Nothing wrong with that. But at the time, that obviously wasn't something I was like super into. And I was like, oh, I want someone taller than me. I just wanted a lot of physical attributes that like aren't important, to be honest. As I kind of got older and I dated someone for a very long time, who we can get into that later, I realized that the height is not the most important thing at all. And like the one person who was very consistent in my life was Sebastian. And that's not the reason I dated him, because even after I was single for like a year, I still didn't want to date him. He was strictly in the friend zone. But then I don't know, like something just changed. And we can go back to the belief thing, but that was a very important thing to me. But yeah, like that was one of the that's one of the main reasons I kind of was like afraid to date him.
look, like when I think to my perspective on this entire situation, even when I was young, I never really had a thought process like that. Oh, like what if there's something better? Because in my head, you can always make something better if you work at it. And I guess that stayed true because of, I wouldn't necessarily call it like succeeding early in life. It's just kind of like I built something when I was younger and I made something work. And so I just had this natural thought process going forward. Like if I really want something and if I really want it that bad, I just need to work at it and, make things work. And even in relationships, it's the same thing for me. I never thought as a next best shiny thing, moving on, getting something better. Because to me, that's just like the grass is greener type of thing. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. But, going on from that, I kind of just always thought of Catherine, being really good in terms of for us dating. I always really liked the way we got along with each other. Like even when we got mad at each other, it's not one of those types of relationships where we'll go like hard on each other. Like we won't cuss each other out or anything like that. It's kind of like more of a talk. And I think it's because we completely respect each other um in every way possible. Like even,
Mhm.
there was a small stint, I'll admit, when we were just friends, that we kind of had like these bad um times where we'd go after each other, but it was not nearly as bad as it could have been.
Yeah. And to talk about those times, I do think that a lot of that was me being in a really bad place. Like at the time, you know what, like when you're depressed, I do feel like the only emotion you feel is anger. And
Hmm.
that's kind of the place I was at the time. And also, like, was I single or was I dating? I think I was dating someone, wasn't I?
I think it was like half and half.
Yeah, like I was just in a really bad situation, to be honest. And I don't know, I was kind of upset at, not that I was taking it out on him, but I wanted someone to listen to me. Like I just wanted someone to talk to, I guess, about it. But Sebastian wanted more. So I feel like he just didn't want to be there to talk to me as a friend at the time. And I get that, because it's hard seeing someone you really like be in a relationship and then they're coming to you with issues that, you know what I mean? Like you probably don't want to have anything to do with that. Like in his head, Sebastian was probably like, I could treat her better. Just leave.
It kind of, but it was more about like I regardless of where we were at, since I've known you for so long and we were friends before we even like got serious about anything, I cared about you in like a friendly way. Like obviously I still had feelings for you and that's where it affected our relationship. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I still cared about you more about being happy than about being like us being in a relationship. And I think that's where you kind of misunderstood that. Like, yes, I did want to be in a relationship, but I think friendship took over a lot more.
Yeah. Like there's just I mean, I was in a place where like I kind of because my parents were very honest with me as well. They knew I wasn't in the best situation, but I was young. I feel like sometimes when you're young, you have to learn things for yourself. And I feel like I was in that situation because Sebastian wasn't the only one telling me that. There's multiple people, and I just didn't want to hear it. So obviously, now that I'm older and slightly a little bit more wiser, this time, but now I see like, okay, I think there's just a lot. You know what I mean? I was depressed, and it just ended up leading to like our relationship as like our friendship basically being like pretty rocky on both our ends because I was just angry all the time. And then Sebastian was just kind of like, he was dealing with his own stuff, I'm sure, too. And like, I don't know, I just wasn't the best friend. So it kind of, I don't know, it kind of, stemmed from that. But that's the bad stuff. Let's talk about the good stuff now.
The good stuff.
The good stuff. Let's touch let's touch base on touch base. I sound like I'm in a meeting.
I know.
Let's let's get back to like when you moved to Florida and how like at that point we became like friends. Like,
So right before that, we were actually not talking at all.
well, yeah, for like 6 months, 5
Good.
months,
Yeah, it was like a good half a year or
like
something
at
like
all.
that.
Like I blocked him, like no
Yes,
contact, nothing.
because there was like an incident beforehand, and I completely just shut that off. So we didn't talk to that point, and then
Well, well, should we? The incident was basically like we had a friend group, and then I don't even know what happened. We were all in like a group Discord call, and then he ended up getting me kicked off of it because he
I
did.
didn't get her kicked off. I can tell
Oh
you
my
right
gosh,
now,
I don't
that's
know.
not
I
what
wait,
happened.
okay. Anyway, somebody else kicked me off, but it was because how Sebastian was feeling about. Oh, Sebastian had told me he had feelings for me, and I didn't approach it in the best way because I was just recently single and I did not want to even think about guys. And he told me, like, I was crying and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sad. And then Sebastian's like, oh, now that we're talking about feelings, I just want to let you know that I love you. And I was like, you
Okay.
love me?
My perspective on this was kind of just if I didn't say it, none of this would have happened at all. So in a way, I'm glad that I did because at least
Oh
I
my
was
gosh, hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm getting a call. We're gonna cut this off.
all right. Sorry about that. There was a call that came in, so I forgot what I was saying, but I think we were going into me moving to Florida just this last year. So I had someone contact me for like a full ride offer to play the game that I made it into professionally. And I took that offer. I thought it would be a fun experience to kind of go to college and do that. But me and Catherine weren't talking at the time up until like the very end. It was like the last two
That's what we were
weeks.
talking about.
Yeah, up until
Yeah.
like the last 2 weeks, she contacts me out of nowhere. Like
I didn't block
legitimately
him.
contacts me out of nowhere and messages me like, "So are
I
you still
literally
mad at
messaged
me?"
after 6 months of not talking. I literally just unblock him and I message him, "You still mad?" Question
Yes.
mark. No, but the reason that even happened was because my best friend and I were like, it was like 1 in the morning. I don't remember what time it was, but we were on a FaceTime call for like 2, 3 hours that night. And we were playing Truth or Dare because we were so bored. Like we just wanted to like talk about something, I guess. She's like, I dare you to message Sebastian. I was like, no, I haven't talked to that guy. But the thing about Sebastian and I is we're both not like, we can't hold grudges. So
Yes.
if like, especially against each other, I feel like we've never been able to like, if I contact him, I knew he was going to respond. And he knows that if he ever contacted me, I would probably respond too.
Yeah.
We just didn't contact each other.
I'm getting a call from
Okay, sorry, we had another phone call come in,
her.
this time on his end.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was playing Truth or Dare with my friend, and she dared me. Oh yeah, I was saying we've never been able to hold grudges against each other, basically. And sorry, I felt like I had to burp.
Hmm.
Anyway, um, Yeah. Oh, sorry, my leg is in the way. Um, so I messaged him like out of nowhere. She's like, just message him something. I was like, I don't know what to say. So I literally just started where we left off. I was like,
Jesus.
you still mad? And then he like I think he like responded pretty fast. I didn't think he would respond,
I don't think
but
I
turn
responded pretty fast.
I think you responded that same day though. You
I did,
responded
I
like
did. But that's
you
because it was at
responded that
night.
night.
It was at
Hmm?
night. It was at night.
Yeah, I messaged you at night, so he responded like maybe the most an hour later, but I remember getting a response pretty quick. And the thing is, I actually remembered right now. I had unblocked him like not too long before this because I had kind of hit a point in my life where I was like, I've been done so dirty by other people. Sebastian has not really done anything to me. And then I kind of thought about it and I was like, there's no reason for this guy to be blocked. So I felt like I was just being mean. So I was like, okay, let me unblock him. And I unblocked him. And he saw that I unblocked him days earlier. And if you know me, you know I'm a Visco girly. So I used to have my Visco. I used to have my Visco in my bio and tell me why this guy, my account's private, but my Visco obviously isn't because you can't
Mm-hmm.
private Viscos. And this guy was looking at my Visco pictures literally like a couple days before I messaged him, but he swears up and down that he just had a feeling I was going to reach out.
I do though. It cause first of all, when I saw that you unblocked me, I kind of already figured like, oh god, here we go again. Like I know she's gonna message me at some point, cause that's how I was thinking at the time. I was kind of like done with it, but it's not like I didn't care at all. And this is what I'm trying to state throughout this whole thing. It's like there was not one moment where I didn't care. It just kind of happens in like spurts when we like completely stop talking in that moment. It's like, oh, I don't care for like a week, and I was like, okay, I was kind of like terrible at that time, but after that, I just had a strong feeling she was gonna message me when I figured out she unblocked me days before that. And so when she finally did, I was like, there it is. That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah, but anyway, back to like him moving to Florida.
Mm.
Like this happened like right before he moved to Florida because I remember he asked to FaceTime, which I thought was so weird because I was like, we could just talk on the phone, but he wanted to FaceTime and I was like, oh, he wants to see what I look like.
Mm,
And I
it
remember the
okay.
last time we had talked, I was like 20 pounds heavier. So then when we FaceTimed, I had lost like 20 pounds and I mean, and not only that, I just think I looked better because I was in such a bad place the last time we had stopped talking that I had taken those 6 months to just self improve basically. And I remember when he called me, I was doing my makeup and I answered and I could just tell like I guess that you're attracted to me. I don't know. I kind of got that vibe, but I wasn't going to say anything. And I was like, but later on, like once we started dating, we had a conversation about this, and he's like, "Yeah, I wanted to FaceTime you to see you because I hadn't
Yeah,
like seen you in like 6 months, which obviously it wasn't in person, but like it's still us seeing each other."
pretty much. I mean, because when I thought about it at the time, I was like, look, I don't even like doing phone calls or texting. I usually like FaceTiming because it's a lot easier to interact with the person. That's just how I think about it. If
Yeah,
you
you can
text
see
me,
their expression.
yeah. If you text me, I'm taking a long time to respond to you.
Mhm.
If you call me, it's probably gonna be a short call because I can't just stare at a wall just talking on the phone.
Mhm.
So FaceTime is like the best thing for me. But after all that happened, I was actually getting ready to move to Florida, and I mentioned it to Catherine. I think like a couple days after we kind of got comfortable with each other again. And I told her I was like, yeah, I got a full ride offer to go to college. And at the time, she's like, cool, whatever. Like,
No, but I was very excited because he was so against college for a while. Like he's like, I would never go to college, like blah blah
yeah,
blah. And I think it's great to have at least a backup degree, you know? So he was like, I'm gonna go get a degree. And I was like, he's matured. Like he wants a
okay,
degree. He I was actually very excited about it. And at the time I was like, thank God he'll meet another girl over there. Because I just was not into him at the time and I just didn't want to have to deal with the pressure of like constantly having to like I just I loved him as a friend. Like I really did. Like which is weird to me cuz like I don't know why he was so hardcore in the friend zone for me, but it was kind of just like to me at the time though I just wasn't interested in dating anyone cuz I had had other guys approach me too and I just was not interested. And then yeah, so I don't know. I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, no. So as I moved to Florida, I was kind of just getting used to everything going on over there. And we were still friends at the time. It was chill for like the first week because I got there in August. It was literally around
Mhm.
this time. I think I just got there.
Yeah.
I was gonna go tomorrow last year. Um, and so for the first couple of weeks, it was just us being friends and being chill about everything. And I don't know when exactly this started happening, but I told Catherine that I was interested in this girl because I thought she was really attractive. And at first, Catherine didn't really think too much of it. She was like, okay, whatever. And I can't speak on her behalf, but like as time went on, things started getting not necessarily toxic, but you can tell as things started getting more tension as
Okay,
time.
what the tension to me the tension started because I would talk about guys as like him and I were friends. So I was like, and at that time he- I had assumed he had moved on because we hadn't talked in like 6 months. So I was like, oh, okay, like we're friends now. So I would talk to him about guys. And then I remember him telling me, hey, I don't like when you talk to me about other guys. It's just, I'm not comfortable with it, basically, is how he
Mm,
approached it. And then he would talk to me about other girls. So I was like, or how is that fair, I guess? And I don't know, that's just kind of how I saw it. And then to me, I thought it was kind of odd because he eventually told me he had feelings for me again. But that situation, it was not that it was toxic. I was just like, why do I not get to talk about other guys, but you get to talk about other girls? That's kind of how that
because
situation went.
when I thought about it, I was like, you always told me you just saw me as a friend, so I was like, didn't
Yeah.
bother her as much. So if I talked about girls, so it was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, and basically the main thing that made me change my mind were his roommates because um hi Hayden and Blade if you guys are watching, but Hayden would always come in. He's like, "Are you talking to your girlfriend?" I was like, "I'm not his girlfriend." He's like, "You guys talk literally every single day and for like hours," which was true. But to me, I was just like, "Okay, but that's what friends do." And then Hayden's like, "I don't know any friends that do that. Like I don't." And he was like, "And you know Sebastian likes you." And I was like, "Yeah, but we're not dating. We're far away from each other." And then I remember Blade kind of would like feed into that too. And they both would just kind of like, they kind of made me think about it. I was like, oh my gosh, like, but I think this episode is way too long, but we can talk about the religion thing next one.
Yeah.
But like, to me, it's like, there's like a religion, like, I grew up very Christian and I still have that strong belief, you know what I mean? Like, go to church every Sunday, praise God, sing worship music. And Sebastian wasn't really like he didn't grow up with that because he grew up your family's Catholic,
Yeah.
but you were like a theist, like he believed there was a God, but he just didn't associate with any religion.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, he believed there was like a higher power basically, like a God. I You can explain that more because I don't really.
Yeah, I mean it's essentially just believing that there's a higher power, but you're not associating it anything towards religion or anything. You just strictly believe that there is a higher power above you and that's it.
Yeah, and to me, I believe that the higher power is God, and I've had a lot of situations in my life where I've seen God in my life. So I've strongly believe in God, and I always wanted to date someone that shared that same belief. And the person I had dated previously for 2 years had told me he shared that same belief. And just by looking at us, we had very different morals, and I feel like that was one of the main reasons that it didn't work out because we just didn't share that similarity, and I feel like religion is an important part of a relationship, to be honest. To me, it's very important. So I told him, I was like, "Hey, I can't date you if we aren't on the same page if we aren't on the same page when it comes to this." And I didn't wanna push him to believe something simply because he was dating me. So I told him, I was like, "Hey, like, I don't know, like, strongly believe in this and I wanna raise my kids this way." And I kinda just let him kind of figure it out for himself, to be honest.
Yep.
Like, I kind of let him just I just kind of taught him, I guess. Not I didn't teach you, I kind of, like, explained to him how my, like, church worked and,
I would more so you
you
just
know.
exposed me to it.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
happened.
That's
You exposed me to it, and I kind of just got intrigued by it because I think everything you kind of get into, you kind of get curious about it, and that's what happened to me. So once I, stepped foot into the church, um, not that there was an immediate connection. It definitely took some time, but I started really connecting myself with the church that was there, for sure.
yeah, and, like, the thing is, though, I feel like in order for you to really believe in God and have, like, faith and, like, really, like because I'm not gonna lie, growing up, I didn't like church, like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it was like, "Oh my gosh, my parents are bringing us here," and most teenagers are like that up until, I went to this Long Beach church in California. I got more involved with the youth, and then I had my own personal encounters with God. And then I was like, "Okay, I believe this for myself, not just because I was raised this way." And then like I said, I've just seen God in my life multiple times, and I just prayed that Sebastian would experience something like that because that's how you really get to know God, I feel like.
Hmm.
And yeah, so to me, I was like, that's why I believe it. But I can't push that onto him because he hadn't experienced that, and you just didn't like, you know what I mean? Like to me, I was just afraid to date someone that didn't believe the same things as me because it becomes really hard when it's serious. I just wanted you to kind of explain what ultimately ended up being the reason you decided, like, okay, this is something I believe and something I would like my future kids to also believe. You know what I mean?
It For me, it was more of a gradual thing. It didn't happen instantly. It actually took a lot of time because I would continue questioning even after my experience. Like for example, when I went to the church and I went up to the front, this was I'll backtrack all the way to 2018 because we did go to church at that time too.
Mm.
Um, by the end of the service, I went up to the front of the church with a lot of different people, and Catherine went up with me, and it was a Spanish service. So I'm not fluent in Spanish whatsoever.
Mhm.
And the man that was, preaching the service, he
Pastor.
yes,
He is the pastor, yeah.
yes. Um
Okay, sorry. Keep going.
yeah, so the pastor, he didn't know me. Like he was fluent in both languages, but he did not know me whatsoever. So when he came up to me and he started talking to me, he started talking to me in complete English. Again, I said hi to him in the beginning, but I didn't really say I said it in Spanish. At least I tried to.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
when he did that, it kind of threw me off. So from then on, I kind of questioned it, even throughout all the things that Catherine and I have been through. Like it's always kind of
Yeah.
been there up until I visited again more recently, where I kind of started really, diving into Christianity and really trying to understand it for myself because I'm at a point now where I'm like, yeah, I think God is that higher power, and you know, it's something that I would gladly follow for the rest of my life.
You know when you said he talked to you like in English, even though it was a Spanish service, which is it's funny because he didn't know him either.
Mm.
Like what did he tell you?
He was talking about some things that were going on in my life at that point, and it's like everything up until those certain points, because I'm not gonna say them in detail, but like
Yeah.
a lot of those things that are going on at this moment, you will look back in a few years and kind of laugh because things will turn out way better than you expected.
Mm.
That's pretty much what it is. And when he said that at the time, again, I was a professional Rocket League player. Like, yes, it's a very lucrative career in that not a lot of people get to do it. So I will admit I did have a pretty big ego. And it was a pretty decent thing because I had my apartment paid for. I was getting paid to do it, and I was getting paid pretty well. And you know, in my head, I was thinking more of like the success of like the materialistic things. And I was like, wow, things are going great. Like, what could he possibly be talking about? Of course, long story short, as time goes forward, things didn't turn out as well as I wanted them to be. And I had to go through these hardships the past 2 years, and up until this point, it finally feels like there's a lot of progress being made. So, you know, when I look back to that time, it's kind of like that makes sense because you just never know what's gonna happen, even if everything feels great in that moment.
Yeah, but I think what was crazy is he didn't know him, yet he was speaking to things you were going through, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. To me, like I've had situations like that happen to me, and that's kind of like thing. That's why I believe what I do. But I will never forget that right before you came to visit this time around, you had a situation when you went to go get food. Remember, you like he like texted me. He's like, the weirdest thing just happened to me at Chick-fil-A.
Oh my god. Oh yes,
Yeah,
I remember. I
I will never
remember.
forget this because he was like, and it was right before he came to visit me, which was the craziest part because you we were gonna go to church, and he knows that we always go to church. So like it was like perfect timing, and the way it happened was just like weird, like not weird, but it was just like crazy. Like just explain it.
I had gone to Chick Fil A in Florida right before I went to go visit Catherine. I was still staying there. This was probably like December.
Hmm.
Um, so we went to Chick Fil A, like my friends and I. I got into line, and I was just taking my order. And yes, Chick Fil A is known for being more of like a Christian restaurant and stuff, but
Yeah,
I promise you, go to Chick-fil-A every single day, you will not hear one person say what this person said because while they may have their beliefs towards Christianity, it's not something you just say out of the blue. So as I took my
yeah,
order, I said I'll appreciate it, and this guy was just like, "Hey, I just want to let you know that Jesus loves you," and I responded with like, "I really appreciate that," because it kind of just threw me off, but at the same time, there was something there that really really spoke to me, and it's kind of like the natural natural thing to say, but I'm beginning to have multiple experiences like this, and it's just not that one time. Because if it was only that time, then I would have just blew it off. But since I've had
yeah,
multiple experiences at this point, it kind of just reinvigorated what I was already thinking about.
yeah. And not only that, I remember you telling me that his friend went and ordered afterwards, and he didn't tell him that. He didn't tell
Yeah,
anyone else that except for him. And I was
yeah,
like, that's actually kind of like what made him pick you to say that too.
yeah.
You know,
No,
like
exactly. So it's just there's a lot of those instances that push me more towards the Christian church, and I don't know, like I just had my own weird experiences, but that's just how it is.
yeah. So long story short, we now we believe the same thing,
Yes.
and we both, if we get married and have kids, we both have the idea that they will be raised Christian. Go to Sunday school, do all the Sunday activities. But how long is this recording so far?
It's now an hour and 8 minutes.
Okay. So originally we had planned for this podcast to be 30 minutes, and now it's probably gonna be around an hour. So I think we should cut it short, but there's definitely like I do think that next time we need to actually get into how we started dating because we never got into that and definitely need to talk about the tall girlfriend, short boyfriend
Yeah.
stereotypes
Yeah.
because that was something we wanted to talk about originally and we kind of thought that like it would be so awkward filming this, but I feel like we kind of just ended up just like talking and talking. So, you know, it is, I mean, it is what it is, but that means you gotta watch the next one for more tea, for
I mean,
the
we just
juicy
went
stuff.
through like a lot of the we just went over a lot of the stuff, but that's just because we're just giving introductions and how everything kind of went from how it started to where it is now. But there's a lot
Yeah.
of stories in between of what happened.
Yeah, and not only that, but Sebastian is coming tomorrow to visit, so we do want to film some in person,
Yeah.
which would be fun because I feel like it's in person.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do that. We're gonna film a couple, and we're gonna film some videos for my channel too. You know, we might just have him try ASMR,
No. I
and
hate
he's gonna do my
ASMR.
makeup. Wait, I'm not excited about you doing my makeup, so we need to do ASMR together.
Whatever.
Oh my gosh, this mic makes me want to film ASMR. Well, yeah, that's about it for today. Um, when should we post? There's a lot of stuff we need to sit down and really discuss, but we don't know who's gonna be watching this, how many people are gonna be watching it, but you know,
It just
we still
depends.
want to have a steady schedule.
Just keep posting. It doesn't matter.
We're just gonna post randomly for now, right?
No,
Weekly?
no, 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 no. We'll do weekly. We'll keep it
No, no,
consistent.
no, look, we'll do weekly, but we don't know like what day of the week. Keep it at that right now, right?
Fair.
Yeah, we'll do weekly. We just don't
So from
know.
this video, whenever this video gets posted, it will be every week, just once a week.
Yeah, it will be once a week, but we don't know what day of the week that will be
Exactly.
because we got places to be, things to do. I'm kidding. Well, yeah, it was nice seeing you.
Seeing me, we see each other every day. What are you talking
I'm
about?
talking about them, whoever's watching this. It was nice seeing y'all.
Oh man.
Yeah, especially when I talk every day, so I'm surprised we had a lot to talk about.
I mean, I feel like we could just talk every day if we wanted to. But like I
And
said
we
before,
yeah,
Catherine usually does the talking. I'm more just the listener because she loves
yeah.
talking.
And I love giving him true crime stories, and he's like, "Please don't, please don't."
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
how our dynamic is.
yeah. So we will share more tea
Later
next
on.
week. Next week.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's it for this episode
Ugh.
of Distant Discussions, y'all. Woohoo! First episode, Dunzo. I think that's
Alright.
a great outro.